Good morning, Shindo here. This morning I thought I'd share with you the big plan to fight Islamic terrorism. This is coming from the Attorney General yesterday. Loretta Lynch, quote, most effective, unquote, response to Islamic terrorism is love. Attorney General Loretta Lynch told Florida's LGBT community that the, quote, most effective, unquote, weapon at America's disposal against Islamic terrorism is, quote, love. Mrs. Lynch told reporters in Orlando on Tuesday that an ongoing investigation will determine the precise motive for the 29-year-old Omar Mateen's June 12th massacre at Pulse, a gay nightclub. Mateen, a former security guard, called 911 and pledged allegiance to the Islamic State group while killing 49 people and wounding 53 others. To the LGBT community, we stand with you, quote, unquote. President Obama's Attorney General said, quote, the good in this world far outweighs the evil. Our common humanity transcends our differences, and our most effective response to terror is compassion, its unity, and its love. We stand with you today because we grieve together, and long after the cameras are gone, we'll continue to stand with you as we grow together in commitment and solidarity and in equality, unquote. What a crock of shit. Miss Lynch added that $1 million in emergency funding for the Florida Department of Law Enforcement would be allocated, quote, as soon as possible, unquote, the Miami Herald reported. The federal funds will be used to cover overtime pay and other costs incurred by Orlando's local law enforcement agencies during the massacre, the newspaper reported. Quote, the message of Orlando is a message of determination to remove hatred, to remove intolerance from our midst, unquote, Miss Lynch said. Well, if that doesn't just make you feel soft and gushy all inside, that we are going to fight terrorism with love. Guess what else I found? By the way, that was the Washington Times by Douglas Ernst from yesterday morning, excuse me. No, today, Tuesday. Yesterday. Anyway, guess what else I found this morning? I typed in to Google, fight terrorism with love. And guess what else I found? Here, the Pope is also talking just like this. Here's an article on Reuters from back in March, right after the Easter season. And the title of the article is, use, quote, weapons of love, unquote, to fight evil of terrorism, Pope says on Easter. Sunday, March 27th, 2016. Francis expressed hope recent talks could resolve serious conflict in order to end, quote, sad wake of destruction, death, contempt for humanitarian law, unquote, by Philip Puella. Vatican City, March 27th, Reuters. Pope Francis urged the world in his Easter message on Sunday to use the, quote, weapons of love, unquote, to combat the evil of, quote, blind and brutal violence, unquote, following the attack in Brussels. After a week of somber religious events commemorating Jesus' death, Francis said on an Eastern Sunday Mass under tight security for tens of thousands of people in a sun-drenched St. Peter's Square. After his traditional twice-yearly, quote, Orbi et Orbi, unquote, to the city and to the world message, he spoke of violence, injustice, and threats to peace in many parts of the world. Quote, may he, the risen Jesus, draw us closer on this Easter feast to the victims of terrorism, that blind and brutal form of violence which continues to shed blood in different parts of the world, unquote, he said, speaking from the central balcony of St. Peter's Basilica. He mentioned recent attacks in Belgium where at least 31 people were killed by Islamic militants, as well as those in Turkey, Nigeria, Chad, Cameroon, Ivory Coast, and Iraq. Quote, with the weapons of love, God has defeated selfishness and death, unquote. God. The leader of the world's 1.2 billion Roman Catholics said from the same balcony from where he first appeared to the world on the night of his election on March 13, 2013. The 79-year-old Argentine pontiff urged people to channel the hope of Easter in order to defeat, quote, the evil that seems to have upper hand in the life of so many people, unquote. The Pope condemned the Brussels attacks several times during the past week, including at a Good Friday service where he said followers of religions who carried out acts of fundamentalism or terrorism were profaning God's name. The former king and queen of Belgium, Albert II and Paola, which is Italian, attended the Mass, and the Pope greeted them afterwards. In other parts of his address, Francis expressed the hope of recent talks could resolve the conflict in Syria in order to end the, quote, sad wake of destruction, death, contempt for humanitarian law, and breakdown of civil concord. He urged Europe, quote, not to forget those men and women seeking a better future, an even more numerous throng of migrants and refugees, including many children, fleeing from war, hunger, poverty, and social injustice, unquote. The European Union and Turkey have agreed to stop the flow of migrants to Europe in return for political and financial concessions from Ankara. Turkey and the Aegean Islands have been the main route for migrants and refugees pouring into Europe in the past year. Francis called for a dialogue between Israelis and Palestinians and resolutions to conflict and political tensions in Yemen, Iraq, Libya, Burundi, Mozambique, the Democratic Republics of the Congo, South Sudan, and Ukraine. Security was very tight around the square, which bedecked more than 35,000 followers. Plants donated by the Netherlands. Police checked people several times at various points along the approach of the square, subjected with entry tickets to body and bag searches even before they passed the metal detectors. Security sources said police reinforcements had arrived in Rome from other Italian cities. Islamic State militants have made threats against Catholic targets in Rome. Last year, a website used by militants ran a photo montage showing the movement's black flag flying from the obelisk at the center of St. Peter's Square. But let me get this straight. The Pope is going to defeat them. Do you know how? Do you know how the Pope is going to defeat Islamic terrorism? He's going to love them to death. Do you know how Loretta Lynch, our Attorney General here in this country, is going to defeat Islamic terrorism? She's going to love them to death. What in the hell is going on in the world? This utter and complete horse shit that has it sounds like a bunch of new age bullshit to me. And regardless of what some of you may think, I am not a new ager by any stretch of the imagination. Because I'm a Gnostic doesn't make me a new ager. It's another thing I get very tired of hearing. God is love. No. God is not love. If God is just love, then God is like a teenage girl. That seems to be more or less the way most people want to act today, like a bunch of 12-year-old prepubescent girls. Love, 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 love is the answer, folks. No, it's not. Islamic terrorism and ISIS are just laughing at people like us. The goddamn Attorney General, first of all, says she doesn't know why this man shot up the club at Orlando. She just can't figure it out. Just couldn't have anything to do with Islam, despite the fact that he openly said that that's the reason he did it. Then she says to defeat people like him, we have to love them, because there's just such inner goodness in all people. You know, I don't know who has less of the true Spirit, the true Holy Spirit, if you will, inside of them. The people who are going, love, 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 or the people who hate so bad that they go out and kill 49 people and wound 53. Just keep it up. Just keep it up. This world is going completely insane. This is Shindo. You have a good Wednesday.